Yo, what's up, Coach?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How's everything going?
Man, it's going good, man. As good as it can go.
You got your 5K in yet?
Man, I tried to do a little something, man.
Man, you inspire me, man, because it's funny. I don't know if you remember Wes Hawkins. That's like one of my good buddies, and
Yeah,
he before he went into the military, like I follow him on Snapchat, and he would always put McCray 5K. I was like, who is McCray 5K? I was like, who is McCray? Like, what is he talking about? This was before I knew who you was. I was like, what is McCray some type of like special 5K or something? And so when I started following you, I was like, oh, okay, I see what this is. Fred and McCray right here, man. That's what inspired it, man.
man. I
So
hey, I hope some of these 5Ks start paying off one day.
yeah, man. Like I haven't been running, but every time I see you posted a little Nike ad stats, I'm like, yo, I gotta get on my grind, man. Got to, man. So I know I seen WCTV. They just put something out there about the quarantine and how y'all been adjusting. Like, how is that as far as y'all day to day operations? Because I know this is like the dead period where coaches are like, hey, such and such coach from such and such school came to visit, and they offer kids, but now that the quarantine has come up, that's kind of hard. And so, how have you been adjusting with that and trying to get your players recruited?
Well, first of all, man, like the probably the biggest obstacle for us as a staff has been not being able to see the guys, as much as we want to.
Yeah,
Um, we try to do a lot as far as mentorship and just being there for our guys. We got a great group of guys in the program, and so not being able to kind of, you know, be there with them and kind of help them become better men each day in person. That's been real hard, and them guys really want to get back on the field because they enjoy being in the program, and so that's been tough. We do a lot, with the assistant coaches. We got a great group of assistant coaches, and we do a lot of different stuff behind the scenes to help our guys. So as far as like having to do stuff remotely and a lot of stuff, by computer and stuff and making calls, it's kind of what we're used to doing. To be honest, it's actually giving us more time, probably too much time. We've had a couple Zoom meetings, just talking about different stuff, and we'll be having some staff meetings this week, kind of going over our program and going over what we would have done for spring football as a staff, and just kind of learning from each other, learning more of what we do, getting everybody on the same page, and then we'll move on from there into the stuff we're going to do in May.
yeah. So you played football. I thought you played at UCF because you always talk about going to school at UCF, but you told me Shaw University. So
Yeah.
I always wanted to know, like, and I'm gonna ask you to show a little bit of your age here. Like back in the day, how was it? Because like there was no cell phones, and players couldn't tweet out blessed to receive an offer from. So how is recruitment? How does a player get recruited like anywhere? Back in the day when there's no phones, and how do coaches send film out? Because I mean I don't know. I'm not experienced in that, so when I don't know
Yeah.
something, I always ask the experts. What's
Well,
that like?
I ain't no expert, man, but I tell you, I was kind of, I guess, in between as far as the technology stuff went. Um, my senior year was the first year I think they started doing like rivals and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So we had, I wasn't one of those big time, 5-star guys that we had. But I had some schools that looked at me and stuff like that. Back then, we had to put everything on tape. So
Right.
people had to send your tape off, and you had to go through
Yeah,
the tape
yeah,
and find
point.
out, yeah, find out where your highlights were, and then turn in your list, kind of your tags to the coach, and then the coaches will put together the tape for you. And
Right.
that's pretty much what we did back in the day.
Okay. And then let's talk a little bit about the season. It's kind of been up and down. Like that Lincoln game was like, whoa, what's going on? It was a head scratcher, but I was telling people, I'm like, it's just the first game, man. They might gotta get the cobwebs out. Then y'all play Trinity. Uh, could have won that one. It was more opportunities to win that game than just you calling that timeout. That's what I was telling people. It was a lot more opportunities. Then you finally got that first win. I think against Crestview, right?
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah. How does that feel to get your first win as a head coach? Because you've been in the game a long time as an assistant, mostly under Shakir for most of your coaching career. So, how does that feel?
Man, I tell you what. First, going back to the Lincoln game, it's different when you're an assistant coach. Everything doesn't fall on you. I kind of prepared like a head coach when I was an assistant coach. I took on a lot of responsibilities, even though I was an assistant under Coach Shakir and under Coach Fuller. But I took on a lot of responsibility. But when you're the head coach and things aren't going right, it feels like everybody in the stadium is watching you.
Yeah.
Especially, coming off the 2 seasons that we had prior where we had won 20-something games, to come out and that was the first game we had lost, since we lost to Lincoln like 2 years before that. So, it was different. It was a pressure-packed season. When you the head coach at Godby, man, or just being a part of Godby's football program with the rich tradition, it's always a lot of pressure to go out there and perform because of the great players that have played at Godby High School. So, that put a lot of pressure on me. But just fast forward to Crestview, man, to be honest, there's so much, and you got to travel with us this year and kind of see all of the different stuff that you have to do as a head coach as far as, just getting everything put together as far as pregame meals and, making
Lot,
sure
man.
everybody has all their
A lot.
uniforms. And it's a whole lot of stuff behind the scenes you have to do. So to be honest, like, I didn't even realize it was my first win until we got on the bus. And I think Coach Jackson might have said it to me. He was like, man, how it feel to get your first win? And I didn't think about it until he said it, because there's just so much responsibility to be done during the game. But it was very exciting. Like, thinking back on that game, Mason Anderson had a great game for us on the ground. Trey Fisher, as always, threw some drops and dimes out there. And then Alvin Jones, that play, I seen a lot of football, man, that play that Alvin had against Crestview, when, they were supposed to call it an incomplete pass. They called it a fumble. I think they were trying to do some home cooking then. He ended up picking up the ball and, juking out everybody and scoring, man. And, that was just, that was an amazing game to watch. Really good games. Crestview is always tough to play over there.
Yeah. So I guess going into the rest of the season, it was just pretty much up and down a little bit. Then you got in the playoffs, and it's out. Well, people were always in my DMs talking, and they felt like y'all was gonna get put out in the first round. It was a solid win against Parker, and I remember you saying like, I think this Parker game is where we finna put it together. And like,
Yeah.
how did it feel to get that win against Parker? And then Pine Forest, I think they were second in that region, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. They
Second
were
or
the
third.
number 2 seed.
And that y'all beat them by like 19, I think. 19. Like, how does that feel? That had to
Um,
be two great wins right there.
yeah, man. To be honest, that whole season, man, it was just a product of a new staff kind of coming together. We had, pretty much, we had a lot of new coaches. We had a lot of kids that had been in the program but hadn't been like starters, hadn't had to be like the man. So it took them some time for, everything to kind of come together from a coaching standpoint and a player standpoint. We knew going into our bye week, which was the last week of the regular season, we knew that we had learned a lot. We had been through a lot. and that, if the team stayed together and really trusted in what we were doing, that we could have some success in the playoffs. We were getting some people back healthy at that point in time, and we went over to Terry Parker, just watching them on film. They had a lot of athletes, but we did too. We felt like we had, some really good players on the defensive line, and then we added some depth to that. Our secondary was lights out. We were young, but our secondary grew so much last year, and we got a lot of those guys coming back this year that we're excited about. But just going back to Terry Parker, man, it was everything just clicked from it. It really started with that opening kickoff by Avery. When he took that kickback, it kind of rolled from there. We were really excited. Terry Parker hadn't had a lot of success over the past few years. So we knew that they were kind of, they weren't used to the playoffs. Even though our kids hadn't been starters those past 2 years, a lot of our kids were used to playing playoff football or being in big playoff atmospheres. We had played so many games on the road that year that we knew, we would be comfortable in the playoffs going on the road.
Okay, and then talk about upcoming season. I'm gonna put it into the air because my mom always told me speed things into existence. So we're gonna have football. I'm hoping, mid by the end of May, this all squares out. So what are your expectations for this year? Because looking at y'all season, it sounds like you want all the smoke with the Georgia teams, man. You going on the road a lot again. And you want some smoke with them South Georgia teams. So I like, of course, I already know you got to get the playoff points.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing with that, man, is, South Georgia football, Florida football is king. Everybody, you can ask any college coach, they want to come to the state of Florida and get players out of the state of Florida. But South Georgia football, just the investment that they make in it, what they pay their coaches, and just the pride that their community is taking football. It's always good to go and compete against those teams. That's probably the main reason we play so many schools in Georgia, because I want my players and coaches to be, to have to compete against the best. Those teams that traditionally churn out top level talent and win championships and stuff like that. We want to play the best teams. I don't want to sneak up on a championship. We're going to win the championship. I want to do it because we worked hard and we earned it. So, that's why we try to play the best teams that we can play. But as far as the season goes, man, we're excited. We got that game up in Atlanta in the Cam Newton Classic that we're going to be playing. I can't remember the name of the school, Carver of Atlanta. So we're going to play them this season. And we got the two Thomasville teams we play this year, and they're going to have some really good players on their team. And then all the teams we play in Florida. I mean, we go to Trinity again. We go over to Fleming Island. They're always a good team. I think they had an undefeated regular season.
Yeah, Ben James gonna be excited by that one.
Yeah.
Oh, he in here watching.
And outside of that, I mean, then just the city schedule. I mean, our district, Wakulla's always going to be tough and good. Rickards, Rickards is a sleeping giant, man. I think they're going to be a really good team this year. They got a stellar secondary, just like we do. And then we open the season with Lincoln, who, that's the alma mater. And, I know the standards over there and what they're going to be trying to do this year. So that's going to be a tough one as well. But I tell you, man, our biggest thing, our defense, I think is going to have a chance to be really good. We're going to have two, I guess, quote unquote, Power 5 kids, but we got a lot of great football players, Mari Alexander, and then in that secondary, those two corners we got, they had trial by fire last year. We threw them out there playing the toughest schedule in the state. We had two sophomores out there that started every game. And those guys are going to be, they're going to be phenomenal. Both of them had great off season. Sean Amar Ball and K1 Banks, they had some great off seasons, man. And then, they got the eraser back there with them, old Deshaun Rucker. So, we're excited about that back end on defense. And then the front seven, we're going to be doing some exciting things with our front seven this year. So, we're excited about what we can do with the talent we got.
Okay, okay. Last question. I always try to end this with, some advice. But even though you're not a player anymore, you've been through the mud, as an assistant coach. So, do you have any advice for any assistant coaches that's looking to work up in the ranks and maybe be a head coach for a high school program, or maybe try to work their way up and get to the college ranks?
Yeah, man, to be honest, and everything that for the most part, everything I do, I learned from other great coaches. Coach Fuller, who's like a big brother to me, Yusef Shakir, who gave me my first, varsity coaching job, and then my high school coaches, Coach David Wilson and Kyle Rice, and my college coach, Greg Ruffin, and all these different people, Andy Johnson, Boone High School, who I worked for, and just learned from a lot of great coaches, man, over the years. And I'll tell you, probably the biggest thing that I learned from them is humility. If you're a young coach and you're trying to do something in this profession, you have to be able to do whatever needs to be done. Really, if you focus on just being the best, like if you're the offensive line coach, or if you're the, offensive coordinator, if you're the kicking coach, whatever you do for your program, you have to be the best at that. Don't worry about what's coming down the road and all of that stuff. You got to be mindful of opportunities, but the main thing is stay laser focused on, the task at hand. Be the best you can be. When I coached offensive line at Lincoln and at Godby, all I worried about was, my quarterback can't be on the ground, and these running backs need to get off tonight. And that was my sole focus. And, I didn't worry about, when I was going to get a chance to be a head coach, or when I was going to move up and all that kind of stuff. That stuff didn't concern me, because, if you work hard and stay focused on your job, and you're good to people, and most important, you stay prayed up, man. Opportunities will come even when you don't even expect it. So,
And then, there's probably some players in here watching or out there. I know it's some in the 850, whether they're juniors or seniors, just feeling like, they're capable of getting that Power 5 offer, that high D1 major offer, or they don't have any offers and feeling, overwhelmed, discouraged. What do you tell those players? Not specifically your players, but just players in general, because in Tallahassee, compared to like maybe Jacksonville or Miami, it's hard to get that exposure unless you're like really, really good. So just talk about that, and any advice for kids that's looking for that one offer to put them to the top, I guess.
man, I'm glad you asked that, man.
Well, I'm gonna ask that for anybody I talk to. That's how I'm gonna end it. So because
let me tell you, man. Listen, to any of the kids that are frustrated, like the whole offer thing, and I know like transfers and all that kind of stuff is big these days. People are looking for exposure and stuff like that. All of that. So I'll say this. There's a business aspect to football, and you got to make sure you're on top of your business. Any exposure you can get, from 7-on-7s to going to different gyms and getting better. All that stuff is great, man. But one thing that I want kids to understand, and that's why like this whole quarantine thing is big. You got to understand, this is this is only going to be around for 4 years. Everybody's an injury away from not being able to play. And you gotta have you gotta have fun and enjoy the 4 years that you had in high school. I remember when I played high school ball here in Tallahassee. That stadium used to be sold out, man, and everybody, just Friday nights were awesome here in Tallahassee. And I think a lot of kids these days are so worried about what other people are saying about them, or what college is looking at them, and all this kind of stuff. And it's great to just focus on your grades. If you go out there, if you focus on your grades, go out there and make plays, then all that stuff's gonna come. Now it's got to be within reason. Florida State doesn't have any 5'5" offensive linemen. Clemson doesn't have any 5-foot defensive linemen. So you gotta there's somewhere for everybody to play football. The more important thing is getting your college paid for. You want to get your college paid for, so you don't have to pay loans all of your life like I did. But kids these days, especially in Tallahassee, I can't speak for every other city, but I know in Tallahassee, I want these kids to really enjoy it. When Godby and Lincoln play each other this year, I want all the kids on the field to enjoy competing against each other, enjoy representing your school, having a good time, being the best you can be that night. Don't worry about what's going to happen 2 years from now, because that stuff's not promised. You got to really enjoy it, and not just the kids, but parents too. Parents need to understand, don't push your child to the point where they don't enjoy football. I see that happen so many times where people's expectations are so big that they end up not letting their child enjoy high school football, because there's so many lessons to be learned, and not everybody makes it to the NFL. So if you can get these lessons that you can learn in high school football, you can still become so successful. You can still have you can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be a police officer, you can be whatever you want to be if you got an education and learn how to work hard. That's what we really need to be learning from high school football, not chasing what offers you're going to get and all that kind of stuff. That stuff will come if you really want it and you work for it.
Ooh, man, that was good. That was good. One more, because I just thought about it. You talk about Florida State. I got to ask, what's the expectations? What we looking like? I think we're going to get 8 games. Me personally, I just want a bowl appearance. That's it. Like, my expectations are low. Because Taggart, he set a high bar coming in, and lethal simplicity, all this, we gonna win now. I'm giving Norvell that chance. Just give me a bowl game, and not bowl games like Taggart did. Just what's your expectation?
I'm gonna put it like this. From watching practice, man, I was the local guy, the guy from Florida High, Raymond Woody. Man, he looked good out there in practice. Gainer, he looked real good. Like, that guy has made some strides, man, from high school, and I was impressed by that. Just being inside the building over at Florida State right now, them guys got everything going how it should go. I don't know what the record's gonna look like, but I know that they are. They put together good staff. They're
Hold on, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Coach Fuller in here, he talking about Coach like the you. He didn't. He didn't get the decommitment announcement. You told it.
I'm gonna address that after I talk about Florida State real quick. But I think Florida State is going. I don't know what the record's going to be, but I know they're doing some good things over there, man. Coach Norvell got a good staff. I'll also say this. FAMU came in when Coach came in over at FAMU. Willie Simmons, he really focused on recruiting locally. They get guys from all over the place, but he got a lot of local talent to add to his roster. Coach Norvell is doing a good job, man, recruiting guys from the area. They're going out and getting good talent, but they're getting some good players from the area. The guy that they got over at Gaston, the D lineman that's committed to him now, man, he's a big kid, high ceiling, hard worker from everything that I see, and then all the other guys that they're recruiting, including Deshaun and the kid Terrion over at JP2. They're recruiting some really good talent from the area. So that bodes well, I think. When you see coaches that can evaluate talent and kind of see who they're recruiting, you can kind of tell, what they're about as far as on the field, and usually, it leads to them having success as far as the win-loss record. But what happened with Miami now?
He talking about Coach Fuller talking about Coach like the you. He mustn't get the decommitment announcement.
I can tell the story. I want to tell that story. I mean, this what happened. So Coach Fuller, and I'm talking to him and everybody. So my brother played at Florida State, right?
Mm-hmm. Hey, you had to check me on that because I think he posted at the Super Bowl. He played for the Chiefs, and I was like, "You a Chiefs fan? Come on, Coach." You had to
But
call me out.
the thing about it, man, my brother played in Florida State. I was a diehard Seminole, Coach Fuller. Like I grew up. Them my big brothers. They raised me, man, and that's the football that I grew up watching. Um, you know, there was some stuff that happened at Florida State. Like I don't know if people remember, like there was some stuff that Florida State said about some former players, and then my brother was one of the people that it didn't end well. And I think there was some things that were said on both sides that were wrong. But I stopped kind of dealing with Florida State for a long time, to be honest. And I like football throughout the state. So I will say, especially as a coach, man, it's kind of hard to root for one team. But
Yeah.
I will say I support our local teams. I'm going to be a Rattler and a Seminole because, I want to see my local teams do well. And then we got guys that play for those teams. Shout out to Kamar and all of them guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. I really appreciate you taking time out to talk with me, man. It's good. Like I said, we're gonna be doing a couple of these whenever this quarantine ends. Talking to former players, current players, coaches, and just to inspire some kids and coaches out there that's watching. So I know you're a good dude to talk to. So man, like I said, I appreciate you taking time out to chat with me a little bit. So looking forward
Gotcha.
to this season, man. It's gonna be fun.
Anytime, man. We around here bored in the quarantine, so
I'm telling you.
anytime I can get on here and talk some Godby football, man, I'm excited to do so.
All right, well, man, stay healthy out there, man. I'll see you around, I guess, whenever
All
football season starts.
right, brother.
All right, appreciate it.